I 25F can't seem to get over my ex 38M, even though I was the one who ended things. We were in a long-distance relationship and went through so much, fights, misunderstandings, and everything in between, before I finally decided to make things official. A lot of our issues probably came from our age gap, but I kept giving us the benefit of the doubt because I really wanted us to work. It took me forever to admit, even to myself, that I had fallen for him. But once I did, I gave it my all. I ignored so many red flags he showed during our relationship because I was so determined to make it work. I guess that's when I realized, love really is blind. We had our fair share of arguments, and I'll admit, sometimes I was the one who started them. There was one time I opened up to him about one of the most vulnerable and frustrating moments of my life, when I applied for a promotion at work, but didn't get it. I was so upset and just wanted to share my feelings with him to help ease the hurt. One time I called him while I was at work because I hadn't heard from him all day. He told me he appreciated the call, that it made him happy, and that he liked me checking in on him. But later that same day, after work, I went to a friend's birthday party and completely forgot to tell him about it. He texted me, asking why I didn't let him know if I got home, and that's when everything started going downhill. I explained what happened, but the conversation eventually led to me saying how frustrated I was that we were talking less and less every day. I told him that if I hadn't called him at work, I wouldn't even know if he planned to reach out to me. He apologized, but I was so frustrated that I told him he was giving me the bare minimum. That's when he started bringing up all these issues he had with me. Issues he never mentioned before. That fight really shook our relationship. To make it worse, on multiple occasions, he'd ask me if I was in 3rd or 6th grade. I didn't appreciate that at all because it was clearly a jab at our age difference and it felt unnecessary. Then, to top it off, he said, "I see now why you didn't get the promotion." That comment was like a slap in the face. It left me completely speechless. It hurt so much to hear that from him, especially since not getting the promotion was already painful enough. For him to throw it back in my face just made it worse. I cried every time I remembered it. Eventually, I told him I regretted ever sharing that with him. 2 weeks passed after that unresolved fight, and when we finally started talking again, it just led to another argument. Eventually, I told him I was waving the white flag in our relationship. I admitted that we were both exhausted from all the repeated misunderstandings and unresolved issues. I told him I didn't want to keep making things hard for him, and that maybe holding on wasn't the best thing for us anymore. He said he didn't want us to stop talking, and that he was done with the fighting and all the things that were detrimental for us. But I told him we were really at an impasse, that he annoyed me. I annoyed him, and sometimes it just felt like we were better off not talking at all. He said if that's what I wanted, he'd respect it. I told him it's not about what I want, it's about what we need. After that, he said his goodbyes, and I had no choice but to say mine too. It's been almost a month since the breakup, but it still feels like it happened yesterday. It hurts so much, and I can't stop thinking about him. I keep rereading our messages and listening to his voice notes, which only makes me miss him more. How do I move on from this broken heart? Unbiased advice is appreciated. Thank you so much.